I also enjoy a good Game of Thrones, and I also have kids, and if I understand there are times in your life when you're going to be busy, where maybe you have a newborn or something going on in your life with your parents. But you still have a network, whether you know it or not. You still have people that support you, that'll talk to you. There are people that I worked with 5 years ago that could call me or text me out of the blue, and I would be happy to talk with them and go out, have a coffee during the middle of the day. And just have an opportunity to talk. And you have those people too. And I would encourage you to take 5 minutes and reach out to a couple of them.
Let's talk a little bit about how to interview developers. You mentioned some good ideas there, but do you follow kind of the traditional, let's do a first interview, then do a code challenge, then do a second interview? Like what have you found success in the best in really not wasting their time and not wasting your time?
I actually try and condense the timeline down. I find that a very long hiring process can result in not getting the person you're interested in. So if somebody applies and I find them to be interesting before they even come in for an interview, I'll send them the code challenge that we have. And I'll ask them to bring it with them. And we'll do one interview there on the spot. And look through it a little bit. And if that goes well, I try and get something scheduled before they leave for them to return and to meet with other key members of the staff. I think it's important that it's not just my opinion. Everyone, whether they'd like to admit it or not, has bias. And so I want to make sure that if I'm thinking this person's a good fit, that there are other people on the team from other parts of my team or other teams that think this person's a good fit. So try and get that second interview scheduled before they leave the first one and get them back in to talk to the key players, and then try and make a decision quickly after that second interview. There's nothing worse for a developer that wants a job to sort of be strung along waiting for that phone call. And frankly, in the climate that we're in, there's not a lot of developers waiting for that phone call. They're going to find something else, and you're going to lose out on the person that you're interested in.
Yeah, you got to be quick. At Foundry, we got a pretty good process, and we track everybody and through the system and all these things, and it's very transparent, and we try to keep it that way. One of the things that we did do is that we opened up a junior position and, got a lot of resumes for people that are either career switching and they're going to be their first development position, or people who maybe are a bit more senior, but they think they're junior, like a whole mix of things. And one of the things that we offered was that if you got a thanks but no thanks from it, that we would offer you to come in for 30 minutes to talk with a senior developer on what areas you could improve on. So that was a very positive experience. And it goes back to what I said about reputation, because this junior developer might be junior now, but in 2 years, when you're looking for somebody more senior, you want them to think back and say, oh, yeah, I remember that place. They were actually really cool. I should check them out again.
There can't be enough good said about what you just said. I think that's fantastic. I think there are also ways, if you're looking for junior people, there's ways to contribute in the community at large into helping those people. One way my team helps with that is we help mentor some of the people that are learning at Prime Academy. And so those are the types of people you describe that are switching careers, that are junior people, maybe looking for their first job. And so like sitting down and talking with them as they go through that journey of learning what it is the rest of us are doing, can have a big impact. And at the end of it, I may not need someone for that particular role at the time, but again, they're going to think back on it and they're going to say, oh yeah, I remember that. I got some really, really good advice during that part of my career.
Right. And I tell that story about what that future developer is going to think about your business and your company. And while some people listening to this might think, wow, it sounds like a big waste of time. Well, we're planning on being in business in 2 or 3 years still.
Right.
And I'm guessing that this person is not going to give up on being a developer. This is inevitable, that at some point this person's going to get a job and they're going to be working in a place. And I want them to remember their experience that they went through with us as a positive one.
Not just for a hiring moment either. It really helps. I think there's something to be said for a couple other angles to those discussions. One, you could end up talking to them as they work at a place that wants to hire you, and that's very more of a business motivated way to think about it. But there's also an empathy based approach to bettering the world, and just the way you can grow people in the world. Having more people with more knowledge is not a terrible thing.
No. And like you said, I mean, there's not two sides of this coin. There's so many different aspects about being able to offer that mentorship. There's like you said, they could be going to work at a place that might hire your place someday, or vice versa.
Right.
And there is that I look at interviews as networking too, not just do you need a job here, but can we help each other out even if this doesn't work, in the future?
Absolutely.
So I think that's an opportunity that some people sometimes overlook.
Yeah, you're not just interviewing for the job you have open today at this moment. You are having a conversation with a human that you may cross paths with, in a job in 5 days or in a job in 5 years.
Right. If you were to give advice to somebody who's either new to managing a development team or they're growing a development team, what are some of the things that you would recommend for them to really focus on to be successful in that role?
You have to have a vision. You have to have a place that you're going. That place can be, very specific or a little vaguer. It can be first star on the left, second, and straight on till morning. That can be your vision.
Right.
But having that gives people around you a reason for being there. It gives them a sense of a greater purpose. People want to know, and developers especially, why they're doing a thing. Why are they coming to this job every day? Where are we going? Where is my career going? Where's the team going? Where's the company going? And just having a point of view on that, on what it is that you want to do, what impact you want to make, and frankly, what you're not willing to do, helps provide that vision for people.
But Tony, isn't a vision just kind of corny? I mean, can't we just work together and just get stuff done and then go home? Why is this vision important? I'm not interested.
I can tell you're interested. But So for me, that vision helps ground the decisions everybody makes on a daily basis. If you say, part of our vision is to pick technology based on what's best for our clients and not what's coolest for developers, that immediately says, all right, we're here to be practical about the tools we're choosing. We're not necessarily going to go after a bleeding edge type of technology. But it that gives some semblance to the development team about where they live and what they do and how they help people. And that statement alone that I just made is not enough to be a whole vision. That can be part of it, but those really ground you again in your decision making. People know what's okay and what's not okay. It gives a real direction, and the team can start building in that direction and building an inertia to where they can start to imagine themselves being the vision.
Yeah. Okay. So, you got me there. I'm hooked. I'm interested in a vision, but I'm a developer. I don't have any experience in this. Where do I find a vision? Do I have to go read a book? How do I come up with this vision?
It's an interesting journey because I probably would have said the words you just said out loud 5 years ago, but I really believe it, just saying like, what do we stand for? You have to look within yourself and figure out what it is you stand for and what you're going to do in this world. And then you have to tie it back to some more tactical things and how does it all tie together? So if you want to make a difference in education or in poverty or whatever it is you want to do, if you work in those lines of business, you can say, we want to do this. And you come up with a bold statement, something big and bold, and then you start moving towards it. And you may not always know how fast the team is moving towards it. It's a little bit like staring at the horizon and being like, I know we're going that way. I don't quite know what's behind the horizon, but we're going that way. And it's a unifying force for all the members on your team.
So yeah, and one of the things that's helped me, and I have this very unique situation with my wife where sometimes we just can't decide on what we want to eat for dinner. I know it's really unique to a married couple. I know we're so strange.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. But one of the things is through a process of elimination sometimes where we talk about what we don't want, right? So one of the things that when we were creating our vision for Foundry, we really sat down and had a hard time saying what exactly we wanted at the beginning. But as we went through a lot of things we knew we did not want, it really started to chip away at the block of stone to reveal the beautiful statue of the vision that we have today. So I would also encourage people to, if they can't just decide on what they want to be, we'll start with what you don't want to be and be committed to that I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and it can be types of work even. You have to ask yourself, if the Department of Defense showed up with a $400 million contract, are you going to take it? And that's a question for every individual group out there,
Right.
And if you have a vision and a point of view, maybe it's perfect for yours and maybe it's not perfect. So you have to be willing to say what you're willing to do or not do.
No, I remember back in the day when you and I were working together, the company had gotten the offer or gotten a offer to bid on the redesign of the Playboy website.
Right.
And while it was a pretty lucrative deal, they were like, nope, this doesn't fit with what we're doing. It doesn't fit with our brand. It doesn't fit with the charity work that we do. And it was a, very clear decision. And I don't think up until that point, anybody had come out and said, we won't work in any kind of industry. But as you go through the work, you start learning what things, you try on different things. You're like, oh, this kind of fits and this doesn't. You can really kind of pick up on that stuff.
Yeah, and even if you're working with someone today and they come in and they say, we want to do this, I'm trying to think of a good example, this shady, nefarious thing to our users where,
right.
Anytime they pay for shipping, we want to double the cost and pocket the money or something.
Yep.
You have to be like, okay, is our development team cool with this? Or like, so just having that vision really does ground you. And I believe pretty strongly that it's very helpful.
That's great. Well, Tony, I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
And so if people want to find out more about Riley Hayes and then find out more about Anthony Ticknor, where should they go?
You can go to RileyHayes.com, or if you prefer a Google or a Bing or a DuckDuckGo, if you're a privacy-minded individual, you can probably type that in and find myself under my name or under looking for Riley Hayes. And send me an email. You can email me too, tticknor@RileyHayes.com. I promise I will answer all of your emails.
That's cool. Well, Tony, again, thank you. It was a great conversation. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Kurt.
All
Thanks.
right, cool. Thank you, Anthony, for the fantastic conversation. In upcoming episodes, I'll be answering some listener questions. Go to schmidt-list.com, and under the menu, you'll find a link to submit a question. Fill out the form, and I'll answer your questions on future episodes. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Also, come out to hear me speak at Twin Cities Product Conference on May 7th at the Minnesota History Center. If you or your business is interested in designing and building the most beautiful software, take a look at foundrymakes.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Till then, you know what to do. Keep on trucking.